secret tests from hot girls that 96% of guys don't pass. And in this video, I'm going to teach you three different tests, secret tests, that women give men, especially very, very attractive women, that 96% of men who they talk to do not pass, and 4%, the top 4%, end up being the guys they date. If you've ever been in a situation where you were talking to a girl and you've lost interest and you didn't know why, or someone was attracted to you, you thought, or everything was going well, and then all of a sudden it just took a turn for the worst, and you really couldn't say why it happened, you didn't know why at the time, I'm going to unveil three of the reasons, and the three reasons why 96% of men get filtered out as options for the really attractive women. But first, let me tell you that I'm a normal guy just like you. I'm short. I weigh about 130 pounds when I'm soaking wet. I'm flat broke, and I suck at sports. But when it comes to women, I am a complete badass. And here's why. I learned the things to say, the way to act, and the right timing for everything that I do that makes women uncontrollably gravitate toward me. Now, in this video, of course, I'm going to show you a technique to give you the same ability to be a complete badass with women, even if you're not rich, tall, muscular, or good at sports. The first question I think we all have is why? Why do women give us tests in the first place? What are they trying to accomplish, and are they bad or mean because they're doing this to us? Well, the truth is, no, they're not mean, and there's a reason why they're giving us tests, and the reason why is because realistically they have to. You see, women have what's called a filter mechanism. A filter mechanism basically means that their job is to filter out all of the weak and insecure men who aren't actually confident, and make sure that those guys are going away and not coming into their life, and allowing men who are confident, who are powerful and strong, truly, to fall through the filters and to get close to them. So they have a series of different tests that they give men subconsciously, and they don't even know that they're doing this. And if a guy passes the test, then they know that this guy is the right guy for them. And if not, they think this guy is not wanted, not desired, and typically not within their league. Now, what they're really looking for is they're looking to see whether or not you are used to having very beautiful women in your life already. If they believe that you do already have beautiful women in your life, then they will be more attracted to you because they'll think that there's a reason why other women are attracted to you. So they'll be more intrigued, they'll be more curious. But if you secretly act and subconsciously act like you don't have attractive women in your life, then they pick up on that through these tests and they filter you out. So the real question, I guess, now is, what are the three tests and how do I pass them? The first test is possibly the most common test that men see, and it's called a compliance test. A compliance test is when a woman asks you to do something, and she doesn't really want you to do it for her. She's just asking to see if you're going to jump up off your seat and do anything that she says for you to do. She's doing this because she doesn't want a guy who's going to bend to her every will, because a guy who bends to her every will is not used to dealing with beautiful women, and therefore he's going to do anything that she wants him to do. Now, if he fails this test, she may keep talking to him, but she's not going to talk to him and consider him as a potential mate, as a potential boyfriend. Instead, he's going to fall into the friend zone, or maybe even worse, he's going to get led on and sort of joked about behind his back to the rest of her girlfriends. So there are a lot of different compliance tests, and they usually happen in the beginning of an interaction, within the first 10 minutes of talking to a girl. Very, very attractive women give a lot of compliance tests. Women who are not used to guys hitting on them as much will give fewer compliance tests. So you can also tell by how many tests you get, you can tell whether or not a woman is hit on all the time or whether or not she's kind of never hit on. So the example of a potential compliance test might be, will you buy me a drink? Will you buy me a drink is a pretty common compliance test. Women have enough money to buy their own drinks in 99% of these cases. They just want to see if you're going to buy them a drink. Now, the typical response is to go, sure, yeah, of course, I'm not a dickhead and I'm not poor, so I'm going to buy you a drink. So the guy usually goes to the bar, buys her a drink. comes back, gives it to her, and she says thank you and turns around and walks away. Or she says thank you, sits there and talks to him while she finishes her drink, and then afterwards she says nice to meet you and walks away. Or like I said, maybe even worse is that she finishes a drink, asks for another, maybe asks for something else later, maybe calls you and asks if you can take her out to dinner, and then you end up paying for everything for her for the next 2 months, and she, again, is referring to you as her ATM, her own personal ATM behind your back. So that's one test called a compliance test. The next test is called a congruence test. A congruence test is something that you'll get more often if you're pretending to be cooler than you are, pretending to be more confident than you are. So anytime you walk in like you're a very confident man, women want to test to see whether or not your confidence is real, because guys have learned how to fake confidence. But how can you tell if a guy is faking confidence? Well, the best way to tell is by insulting him and getting him to a space where he's emotional so that he starts to act on his emotions and not on some sort of preconceived concept or preconceived story or personality that he sort of made up. So what they do is they end up just making fun of you in front of a bunch of people. This may come totally sideways. You may not see this coming at all. Things may be going well. She may be smiling, and then all of a sudden she just throws an insult in there like, where'd you get those stupid shoes, Walmart? Okay, so, all right, most guys would be insulted by this and be pissed off, especially if this is your first time really talking to a beautiful woman. But the truth is that this test exists because it works. Guys who are not confident get scared. They run away. They get freaked out. They look down. They have all these different cues. They stop talking for a minute and get confused look on their face. Guys that are very confident are used to women doing this to them because they're used to women being not sure if they're faking their confidence or not. So they know how to respond to this test. This is a test where if you're getting it, it's really considered a high-quality problem because that means you're talking to and attracting very beautiful women. And if you get any kind of a test, it means that the woman you're talking to thinks that you're a potential boyfriend or a potential hookup, and she's testing you to see whether or not that's actually true. So anytime you get a test, it's a good thing. But if you fail the test, you really need to sort of look back on it and understand what to do right and then fix it next time, because if you never learn that these are actually tests that you're getting, then you are going to fail them every single time. You also need to know exactly how to respond to these different tests and the different sort of ways around the back doors so that you know exactly how to move the conversation forward. The final test is called the gender role test. This test is a little bit more elusive than the rest of the tests that I've given you so far. The gender role test is a test that a woman will give you to see whether or not you want to play the male gender role in the relationship. Women do this very early on, and sometimes within the first 5 or 10 minutes of the conversation. And if they're doing this, it's a very good sign that she is looking at you as a potential long-term partner. Now, the way this comes out is that she'll begin to take charge or take control of the interaction, sort of telling you what to do, leading around, turning away, stepping back, talking to someone else in the middle of a conversation, and things like this. Now, what she's doing is she's trying to test whether or not you are going to be strong enough to lead the relationship and whether or not she can trust you later on. If you step forward, if you chase her, if you get angry, if you don't know what she's doing during this process, then you will fail this gender role test. And even worse, if you sit back and let her lead everything, she'll know that you are going to fold under pressure in the future, and she will not consider you to be a potential boyfriend or mate or hookup or anything beyond the 5 minutes that she spends talking to you. So those are the 3 tests, the secret tests that women give guys that, again, 96% of men do not pass and they fail. And more commonly, this happens when you're talking to a very attractive woman. Now, the real question now, I believe, is how do you pass these tests? Well, in the next video, I'm going to go into a lot more of how you actually pass these 3 different tests, what specifically you need to say for each one to get you to the next level, to sort of advance you to the next stage in the interaction. And I'm also going to teach you the biggest mistakes, the 7 biggest mistakes that men make to ruin their chances with women. Now, these are mistakes that are very subtle. A lot of guys don't see them happening. A lot of guys have no idea it's even the woman's even paying attention in the first place. And because they're so subtle, and because most men do not see that they're making these mistakes, any sign of just one of these 7 mistakes that men make will ruin your chances with any woman you're talking to. So it's imperative that you know what these mistakes are. In the next video, I'll go over what the mistakes are, and I'll also go over how to pass these 3 different secret tests that women give you. You're going to get that video tomorrow. Look out for it. You should have an email letting you know when it's available for you. And I look forward to giving you that information in the video tomorrow.